Welcome in and welcome back. It has been a while since we have done a questionnaire just for the sake of doing a questionnaire. We've done some Cosmo quizzes, which I really consider to be my life's work, but this is a little bit different. These are just open ended questions with no multiple answer diagnosis in mind. This comes to us from a blog called Emloves, Emlovs, from a woman named Emily Loves, who spells her name like a porn star or a stripper. Either way, it could be. This is an entry called Date Planning Guide: Second Date Questions to Ask a Woman. I'll be your woman. I could never be your woman. Question number one: favorite family member. That's not a good question to ask someone. That's a diabolical and miscreant question to ask someone. I am an older brother. I have a younger sister. So if we're going on just sort of guttural instinct, I would probably have to say my younger sister because I get fairly protective over the little shit. What are we doing here? It's a weird question. You shouldn't ask anyone that. Let's see. So there are explanations as to why these are great questions here as well. Um, if she balks at the question or seems uncomfortable, don't push it. This is an awful question. That's why everyone should, in fact, act that way. A lot of people are not close to their families. Others may have bad experiences that make them not want to go into a reverie. Why would this only be negative? I would imagine that one of the worst reasons to balk at said question would be if you don't want to pick favorites among people that you do value. Emily, you're 0 for 1. Hopefully, this gets better. Number 2, what made you decide to move here, or what's kept you here? Um, I moved back. I moved back to Kansas City. I moved to St. Joe as a much younger man. I moved to St. Louis as a man slightly younger than that. So I have lived in 3 cities, 2 saints in 1 state, the state of Missouri. But I don't have a lot of people. Not much of a people person, and I had feelings. There would be some family stuff on the rise. Um, I am not a young sprite, and neither is anyone in my family. So I figured if I was going to have anyone in my life, it might as well be family, my family, not travelers. So if I was going to see them, it would have to be from a relatively close distance. The explanation here, you likely already covered the "Are you from here?" question during the first date. This follow-up question is an excellent way to learn more about what made your date decide to relocate to her current residence or why she chose to stay put. Actually, not a bad question. This is probably something that would get you much closer to knowing someone. A question such as this, you get to understand their values and what they're thinking, where they are in life, what kind of stage they are at. Question number 3: what made you decide to go on a second date with me? Make sure you pose this question in a fun, casual, and flirty way. Not gonna happen. What made you decide to go on a second date with me? That's the only way that question ever comes across. There are things about you that this lady enjoyed on the first date, hence why she decided to agree to a second date. Why not push the envelope and encourage a little sexual tension? Why did you want to go out again? Increase the sexual tension? Emily, I think you're over your skis here. In return, tell her what you find captivating about her, but avoid obvious compliments like the boobies. Don't talk about the boobies. Not this early, not in the second date, not when you're answering why did you want to go on a second date. Boobies a little off limits there. Um, because you watched my previous questionnaire videos, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to get to know you better. Question number 4: if a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your life, your future, or anything else, what would you want to know? That would be awful. This question is another way to get to deepen your knowledge of someone and possibly even find out something unexpected without posing a question that seems threatening or too personal for a second date. So this crystal ball, you own it, right? Like this isn't sort of a one-shot thing. You own said crystal ball. If so, I would ask this crystal ball about my writing. I would enslave this crystal ball to my writer's life. And I'd have a pretty good editor, I think, in the works there. If the crystal ball is all-knowing, all-seeing, I'd have a career in writing. So that's probably the only good answer I have for question number 4. Question number 5. Before making a phone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Question mark. Why? Question mark. So first off, that infers that the answer is yes. I think that is a weird thing to do. Number 2, maybe I think that's a weird thing to do when the question infers yes because everyone does it, but I don't because I don't make phone calls. Verily, I almost can't answer the phone that I currently have. I've had this phone for 4 years. It takes me at least 3 attempts to answer it in the rare occasion that someone does call, and I still don't know if it's, so it kind of happens organically on the third-ish attempt. I don't know if it's not a tap, it's not a swipe, it's somewhere in the middle. Like I've got to caress the phone in order to answer it. So, what was the question? No, I don't rehearse what I'm going to say. What a weirdo psychopath thing to do. No, don't be stupid. Question number 6. No, what's the reason for question number 5? Chances are you've done this at least once. This question offers an opportunity for you both to become humanized to each other and even have a laugh. That's not a humanizing thing. I practice what I'm going to say. That's not humanizing. That's dehumanizing. Emily, spell your name right. Question number 6. What's something you're terrible at doing? In this scenario, it's a good idea to volunteer to go first and charm her with some humorous self-deprecation. I'm bad at a lot of stuff. I'm really bad at, I have piles of paper places. I am bad with technology, so instead of creating Word documents and making all of these different short story ideas, clips from poems, lines that I really like, or idea pages for stories or novels or whatever, I'll just keep the sheet of paper that I have haphazardly acquired on which to write said snippet. I'll just keep it. And I don't know why. It's stupid. I shouldn't do it. It's clutterful. I got a lot of clutter. Shouldn't do it, but I do. That's what I do. This is a very bad thing because I've got paper fucking everywhere. Number 7. Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? This is a stupid question. Even the second time through, what is the reason? Ask a question that, no matter how long it's been around, incessantly begs to be asked. This has been around a long time, so here's the correct answer. Here's the real correct answer. For anyone, if you do get posed this question sometime in the future, for some reason, ducks are miserably violent animals. They are very cruel and torturous, and if you had a horse-sized duck, it would murder you in cold blood. Horses generally not passive, but more standoffish than violent, I think, in temperament. They don't want anything to do with you, so don't give them the reason, and you've only got 100 of them. And they're duck sized. They're this big. Okay, so you just sneak up on them, give them a good kick. One right in the old horsey dome, and then you've only got 99. 99 duck-sized horses on the wall. 99 duck-sized horses. Sneak around, kick him in the head, knock him down. 98 duck-sized horses on the wall. 98 duck-sized horses. Sneak around, kick him in the head, knock him down. 97 duck-sized horses. That's the correct answer. A horse-sized duck. That thing gets clamped on you. You're not getting away. You're not getting away. The geneticists probably at work on this. Question number 8. Ask her to give you 2 truths and a lie and try to guess the lie. Do the same and have her guess. I hate this. We used to have to do this all the time in school. This is not a good way to get to know someone. Base your entire relationship on lies. Here we have one of my favorite second date questions to ask. It reminds me of when my boyfriend and I first started dating. He would always ask playful questions on our dates that made conversations so much more fun. I can't swim. I've never been on an airplane. And I don't wear underwear. You figure it out. Number 9. What a terrible question. I hate those questions. I hate that stuff. That is such a... I hate that stuff. Question number 9. If you could give your middle school self one piece of advice, what would it be? Football's not going to work out, son. Keep in the gym. Keep on the track. Keep in shape. Double up on the books. Football does nothing for you. Love this question because middle school was an awkward time for approximately 100% of us. A great question that can help each of you laugh and ease the tension. Well, my answer was not funny at all. My answer was probably much more tilted towards the depressing side. That's life, I fear. Question number 10. How many questions are there? God damn it, I should not have chosen this. 20? All right. Work to go. Question 10. How long do you usually wait before kissing someone? Well, I prefer if they're paying attention, if that's what you mean. Question number 11. What's the worst kiss you've ever had? What made it terrible? Way to put pressure on a second date. This question is a way of easing into stoking the sexual tension. What is it with you, Emily, in stoking sexual tension? You guys can share a laugh over dating horror stories. Additionally, you can glean insight into how she likes to kiss. Plus, just the fact that you're talking about kissing is likely to make her think about it and get her in the mood. I disapprove of your tactics here, Emily. What we're doing here is, look, if you have had a partner or a lover or datee that is so terrible at kissing, it probably is also an indictment of you. All of this stuff is reciprocal, right? So one of my favorite quotes about writing is that good writing tells you how to read it, teaches you. Good writing teaches you how to read it. There are any number of authors, George Saunders comes to mind, who are extremely weird when you start reading them, but their writing gets a lot easier to understand as you go. This is the same way with the love realm. If you are having a bad time kissing someone, it's because probably neither are you a very good kisser. Good kissing is contagious. Question 12. In your opinion, what makes a person sexy? Depending on how comfortable she seems with this question and how comfortable you're feeling at this point, you can ask question 17 after this. Oh no, what is question 17? I'm dying with anticipation. What makes a person sexy is, to me, not knowing themselves as much, because I think that is a constant journey, that is a constant act of pursuit, but at least the act of pursuit. Wanting to live an individual's life, wanting to live the life that individual... Look, I can't stand all the cookie cutter stuff, and I can't stand all of the try hard stuff. So yeah, if you're gonna, the cookie cutter stuff especially, I can't really go with. But a lot of the try hard stuff, like, hey, I want to be exposition at the company that I work at. Yeah, that's fine. That's the try hard stuff, but that's fine. At least you are acting with some type of motivation. But the thing to me is individualization and the pursuit of actualization. Not the pursuit necessarily of money, not the pursuit necessarily of power or yada or yada. I don't know if you've ever been a yada, but it's sort of yada yada. There are a lot of things that people can be into, but as long as it is something individualistic, something, if I dare say so, non-consumerist in that realm, that is something that I find attractive. Having a vision of what the individual, a portrait of the artist as an older man, what it is that the individual is trying to do. So I made that reference, portrait of the artist as an older man, portrait of the artist as a young man. A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man is a novel from James Joyce where he reflects on an artist as a young person that has, we're assuming, become a little more actualized. When I say A Portrait of the Artist as an older man, basically having a vision and a drive and a desire and a willingness to act towards those things. Those are the things that I find attractive. Question 13, what are your rules for good sex? As with number 17, gauge her comfort level here, and if things go well, lead into question 14. What are your rules for good sex? What a terrible question. I don't think that's something you should ask probably ever, but especially on a second date. This is more of a conversation thing, not a question. I don't think that, as with probably anything worth having in life, if it comes down to rules, you're probably under some grave misunderstanding. 14, what is the craziest place you've had sex? Proceed with this question if she has been relaxed and comfortable with the other sexy questions that are meant to stimulate sexual attraction. Conversational lubricant, is that what we're talking about here? What a weird phrasing here, Emily. I don't like these questions. I don't understand why. What are we doing here, Emily? For whom is this article written? A construction site, probably a construction site. There've been a couple construction sites. That's probably the craziest. There's been upwards of 4 construction sites. Those are probably the craziest. Question number 15, what clothing makes you feel sexy? This question offers a fun way to activate her creative imagination. The second date is all about escalating sexual tension. So if you can get her mind thinking about sex-related things, you'll be much closer to converting your second date to a third. Asking what clothing makes you feel sexy, you're not trying to convert one date into another. That's not the idea of conversion you have in mind. Be honest. What a terrible question. This is a stupid thing to ask someone. What is the goal? What's the goal here, honestly? What is the best case scenario when you ask someone what clothing makes you feel sexual, makes you feel sexy? Not the clothing that I'm wearing tonight for you, or is it? And if it is, what an awkward exchange here to have to force that admission out of someone. Question 16, what color underwear makes you feel sexiest? Is this a real thing? What a stupid fucking question. This question was one that somebody I date during my 100 date experiment asked. Okay, this question is one that somebody I dated during my 100 date experiment asked me. It wasn't something I'd thought about before, which made it all the more fun when it came time for me to answer. Thinking about what makes a woman feel sexy makes a woman feel sexy. Isn't that funny? It sounds like manipulation. Try it out yourself on a second date, or even as a fun text before the third date. I also recommend you tell her that you want to see her in them. Does it push her buttons? Yes, but the risk is worth the reward. This was probably written before 2010, I'll tell you that. Question number 17. What is your favorite memory from childhood? I've had a lot of clients tell me this has been a good question for them. It's useful because it brings up positive nostalgic memories. Research shows us that nostalgia can boost a woman's mood and decrease stress. A question like this, one can also provide deep insights into her family life, which is a highly charged emotional topic. You're always on the right track if your conversation leads to emotional responses. No, you're not. Avoid questions that only lead to logical answers. Oh, Emily, we disagree profoundly. Here, my favorite memory from childhood. If there's one thing that I know I get from my mother, it is my indelible need to troll. My mother, on the occasion that she would bake, not much of a baker, bitch, but on the occasion that she would bake, and she had to use unsweetened chocolate, she would call me and my little sister into the kitchen. She would fill up a spoon with this unsweetened chocolate, and she would ask us, guys, would you like a spoonful of chocolate? And here we were, 3 and 5 years old, 4 and 6 years old, 5 and 7, 23 and 29 years old. It doesn't matter, okay? That was a bigger split than before. We're 2 years apart, my sister and I. So normally the splits would be 2. But she would ask us, do you want chocolate? And what are we going to say? No. Mom, I would not like a heaping spoonful of melted chocolate. Of course we took it. And of course, we did not sample said chocolate first. We just shoved the entire spoon in our mouth. Bitter chocolate does not taste good. Unsweetened chocolate is disgusting. And my mom would watch us shove that spoonful of chocolate in our mouths, and she would laugh, and she would laugh, and she would laugh and laugh and laugh. She loved it. And we would be so upset that by the time she got those spoons back from us and asked us if we would like another spoonful of chocolate, by God, we said yes. Number 18, what is one thing you've always been afraid... Whoop, I skipped a line. What is one thing you've always wanted to do but have been too afraid to try? Manslaughter. Question 19, what is your favorite part of a man's body? Shoulders. Question 20, if you were on death row, probably, because no one premeditates manslaughter, what would your last meal be? A whole bunch of mashed potatoes and some unsweetened chocolate, and I would just ball them up and throw them at the prison guards. That would be my last meal. This is Monday. We have new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here. We have new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Stripped Cover Lit. Stripped Cover Lit is where I talk about books. I talk about poetry. I talk about short stories. I talk about literature in general, and Mondays are for poetry. I hope to see you here on Wednesday. I hope to see you there today, and I hope to have you subscribe to both channels.